Hi everyone, welcome back. Michael Sandler here, best-selling author and your host on Inspire Nation. Check out our website where you'll find podcasts, tips, videos, blogs, and more at inspirenationshow.com. If you've ever wondered what your pet was thinking or trying to say, then do we have a special guest for you today. His name is Tim Link and he speaks with animals. He's an author, writer, speaker, nationally syndicated radio show host, president and CEO of Wagging Tails, and most importantly, a full-time animal communicator. As part of his passion for helping animals, Tim also has mastered Reiki, an ancient art of energy healing, which he uses on animals. In February 2004, Tim learned, with great surprise, that he could communicate telepathically with animals. Until then, he had no idea this ability. Initially, Tim never intended to let many people know about his newfound gift. He's probably like, He practiced with his own pets and those of his family and close friends as one of those boarded at the local rescue shelter. As he continued to practice on more and more animals, he noticed his gift was getting stronger. Since his gift continued to expand and could not be ignored, he decided to embrace this new way of helping animals. Tim officially formed Wagging Tails in November 2007 to communicate with animals and their owners and to perform Reiki energy healing on pets. Today we're going to be talking with Tim about the real nuts and bolts of communicating with our pets. How to do it, how not to do it, and why barking at our dogs or kitty cats is never the answer. For ourselves personally, just 10 days ago, we lost our 10-month-old kitty, Koa-kun, which was extremely close with both of us, and especially so with Jessica. So we want to talk with him about our pets passing and our pets that are still around. Wow, that's a lot to talk about. It's going to be a tail-wagging hour. So thank you so much for joining us, Tim. Are you ready to shine?
I am always ready to shine, Michael. Thanks for having me on board.
Well, thanks for coming in a mighty woohoo!
Love it.
So before we jump into some of the nuts and bolts, which I'm really excited to talk with you about, and we latched onto this book. This book, Talking with Dogs and Cats, is and you've got such a happy dog on the cover. Who is this happy dog, by the way?
It is a professional dog.
Oh.
I'm not quite sure how that happened. You know, the publishers decide got a happy dog in the front and got a person and a little kitty on the back. And
dog model, kitty model.
Lord knows I've got plenty of my own furry models around the house. But yeah.
I love it, and we love this book, really latched onto it. The timing couldn't have been better because we had a big move, and we were taking our pets with us, and taking our pets from Hawaii to the mainland is no small adventure. And 2 of our 3 cats are rescued feral cats, so that was quite the journey. So we'll go into that in more detail in a moment, but how did you ever start to communicate with animals?
Yeah, well, I think it's one of those things where, God, the universe, however you want to label it, gives you those right and perfect gifts at the right and perfect time. But sometimes they happen a little bit earlier in life, and sometimes they happen a little later. And so for me, my life basically was I grew up in a very small house, a 675 square foot house with 2 older sisters and my mom and dad, a very modest life in Indiana. Worked hard, got my grades. First, my family had to go to college and paid my way through college, and started a 20-year career in telecom. So I was a telecom executive. I traveled the world, and my clients were the biggest names in telecommunications, and I was selling advanced technologies for cellular phones. And that was life. Life was good. Things were great, and everything was clicking along nicely. But in 2004, a shift, I think, was happening in my life, an unbeknownst shift that was going to happen. And it all started with a little workshop. There was an animal communication workshop taught by Judy Byers, the late Judy Byers. And Judy was coming to the Atlanta area where I live, and she was going to teach us a little half-day workshop. The workshop was designed to help clear your mind and open your heart to the opportunity to connect with animals, a lot of breathing exercises, meditations, things of this sort that, at that time I was familiar with, but really didn't practice on a regular basis. But it was my wife's birthday weekend, so I thought, well, she wanted to go to the class. She thought she would have this great epiphany pop up for her.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And being the husband, I thought, well, we'll be around a lot of animals, around a lot of like-minded people, and importantly, Michael, it's one of those things where like, okay, I got the birthday card, I got the flowers, now I got the gift, and being a good husband, I'm good for one more year.
I love it. If only it were that simple.
Yeah, it's never that easy, never that easy. So during this workshop, we learned those techniques, as I mentioned, sort of clear your mind, open your heart to the idea of maybe connecting with animals at a deeper level. There's about 12 people in the class. We all had 4 or 5 pictures of the animals in our life. There were some live animals there as well at the host house. And we all were asked to bring questions, 4 or 5 simple little questions that we knew the answers to, but no one else did. Mm-hmm. So things like, what color is Fluffy's litter box? Where does Spot like to sleep? Where does Winnie eat her hay? And we were to connect with these photos or connect with the live animals that were there, breathe, clear ourselves, ask those questions, and see what we got. See if we got any words, colors, feelings, pictures, emotions, whatever it was we received. We were asked to jot it down and then compare notes afterwards to see how accurate we were. Are we on the right path? Were we receiving anything? The things of that ilk. And lo and behold, every time I connected with an animal, I did receive information. At that time, it was usually a couple of words or a picture, mind's eye picture. Mm-hmm. And I jotted down that information, not knowing it was right, wrong, or indifferent. And I shared it with the human companion of the animal. Yeah. And lo and behold, not only did I receive information, but it was 100% accurate.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a mind blower.
I thought, wow, this is great, because we went through 60 or 70 different questions, and I was getting information, and it was accurate. And like you said, I thought, wow, this is cool. And I thought, wow, this is definitely strange. What does this mean? Is this true? Is this really happening? Or maybe I'm on a hot streak. I need to leave now, get the lotto ticket, head to Vegas, and things are hot. And then more importantly, it hit me in the fact that, okay, if this is something that I have a gift for, if this is something I've uncovered, what does it really mean? Because my 2 worlds were not going to be lined up at that point.
Telecom and animal communications, it's both communication.
So it does have that in common, but it was not like I could go to the head of Intel and say, hey, I tell you what, you spend like 20 or 30 million dollars on this technology I'm trying to promote, and I'll come by and tell you why Fluffy's not using the litter box. Yes. I think, as you know, that the consciousness and the world we're living in, it's getting a little bit more in alignment. But right now, those 2 worlds are a little bit different. Yeah. And I really wasn't sure what it was all about. So I kept it quiet, as you mentioned in the intro. Worked with it further. Worked with my own animals. Later, a few friends' animals. As part of our church, became part of an animal healing ministry, which afforded me opportunities to work with a lot of different animals, especially those animals that were about to make their transition or had made their transition, and then later becoming president of a local humane society and afford more and more opportunities. And so by the time early 2007 came around, the word got out. I was doing work with missing animals and locating missing animals and reuniting them with their families or the institutions that they left from, working with grief counseling, working with behavioral issues with animals. And I had to really ask myself, what is this all about? Is this something I'm should continue to play small with, keep quiet, and do on the side, and continue my...
I'm getting shudders. Play small.
And I've never been one to play small. So I asked my divine guidance. I asked for my direction on what I should do. Is this something I really should be doing? Is this my purpose and reason for being here? And the message came through loud and clear that this is... You're here to do this. You're here to help people better understand their animals and make connections with their animals, bond with their animals, and have great lives with them. And you shouldn't delay. So I didn't. I went home from church that evening, typed up my resignation, and took the leap of faith. Left my 20-year career in telecom behind, stuck the wagging-tails, TALES.com site out there, and said, okay, here we go, and haven't looked back.
I love it. I can't even imagine what your coworkers were thinking with it.
Well, it's ironic because years later, obviously, when I first left, I didn't make this grand announcement saying, hey, I can talk to the animals, I'm going to leave. I didn't quite do it that way, but Later on, the word got out of what I did, and my first book, Wagging Tails, came out, and that gave us some more notoriety, got the word out there, and so some of the workers found out about that as well. And most of them, they were obviously quite shocked by the situation, but they were like, good for you. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You found your passion, you found your purpose. Many of us look our whole lives for that and never find it when it's right there in front of us.
So can everybody communicate with animals, or is this just a special gift that you have?
Well, I call it a gift because I think that it has grown. I've learned to work with it. I've learned to trust it.
So you've cultivated it.
I cultivated it, exactly. It's a good way to put it. I think everybody has that ability. Michael, when we're very young, when we're 2, 3, 4 years old, it's not uncommon for us to have conversations with animals or things around us. We're open to everything. We already have that intuitive connection to talk telepathically with our mothers. We hear of mother's intuition, and it's the same thing. You connect with your child, and your child connects with you to be able to communicate. The challenge is by the time we get to be 5, 6, 7 years old, and we're going out to school, we're learning our language skills, we're learning to speak a certain way and find out what's exactly what's acceptable to society and how we communicate. And we tend to forget. We tend to not trust our instincts, not trust our telepathic connections. So in the book, Talking with Dogs and Cats, one of the things in the first part of the book I try to accomplish is to let you know that this is common things. These are things that you have within you. You have to get back to that state of mind. You have to center yourself. You have to go back to that space to be able to connect with your animals and not just communicate with them in a one-way fashion that we're so used to, but actually have a conversation with them and actually receive information back from them.
So how do you know, though, that what you're hearing, or whether you're seeing images or words are coming to you, whatever channel that they're communicating is, how do you know that it's them and not something you're just making up?
Well, and that's the key. I think that the hardest thing for humans is we don't trust ourselves. See, animals don't have this issue. They trust what they feel, they trust what they see, they trust what they hear, they trust what they know, and they go with that. For us, it's more of a challenge. You reflect back to your school days.
Yeah.
You're taking a test. They always say, what is it? The first thing you come up with is the correct answer. And usually it is. And so we have to get to that point. But us humans, we doubt everything, especially if it's something different or something your animal shared that you've never experienced before. You're like, am I really hearing that? Or, oh, that can't be. And, you talk yourself out of it when actually your animal's trying to communicate with you. So I think trusting it, and that's one of the things that I had to work with, for quite a while before I could actually feel that the words, the colors, the feelings, the pictures, the emotions, the smells, the taste, however the animals want to communicate with me, that I trust what I receive is to be true and to work with that.
So what is the modality, or what is the how-to steps for somebody listening to this? Obviously they want to get your book, and it goes into great detail and a lot of stories behind it, but what's the how-to in a nutshell? They're getting home from work today, and they're going, come on over here, Kitty, Rover, or their beautiful stallion, whoever they want to communicate with. What do they do?
First of all, you got to take a breath. Yes, cleansing breaths, and we did it. You did it beautifully at the first of the show, and that's the way we do it. You've got to clear yourself. You've got to get rid of the post-it notes on the brain, as I call it, funky mind. Get rid of that stuff that prevents us from really receiving the information.
Yeah.
Calm yourself down. Get to that center point. I always refer to it as a meditative state. And often we think of meditation as being, sitting in the lotus position and chanting and listening to drums and music, which if that's your form of meditation, that's brilliant. Mm-hmm. For me, I enjoy it as well, but getting in the lotus position is not the problem. Getting out of it again, that sometimes. So meditation is anything that takes you out of your conscious mind and opens up your subconscious mind. So if you enjoy listening to music, that's a form of meditation. Gardening, walking with your dog or cat outside, being part of nature, anything that clears your mind and gets you to that center point. These are things you have to do. And over time, if you practice this over and over again, it becomes a natural state.
Out of curiosity, do you actually teach meditations to people?
I do. I teach meditation. I teach a lot of guided meditations.
So at the end of the interview, if you're up for it, would love to do a 5 to 10 minute guided meditation for our audience.
Yeah, I'd be glad to do it.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I do. There's all kinds of forms of meditation. I like the guided meditations. I use them a lot in my animal communication workshops that I do. And we go through various types of guided meditations to clear your mind, to open your heart, and to get into the mindset of the animals. I've actually got CDs out there that or audio downloads, as the kids call them nowadays. They're not CDs per se. But audio downloads are available out there. If you just go on and look for Tim Link, I've got a clear the mind, clear the body meditations, and I've got some guided meditations connecting with the animals out there as well.
Perfect. So at the end, after we finish, after I say goodbye, we'll do a little 5 to 10 minute, because we do lunchtime meditations for people, and maybe they use this as an evening meditation where they get home, they're going to get to see their kitty, cat, and dog, and we can get them into that sacred space so they can communicate a little bit better.
Absolutely. And I think that's the key, and people will ask me, well, do I have to do this every single time I want to communicate with them? And the answer is no, but it's also yes. That's the trick question. Because it's yes, because we have to get to that point where we're clearing the mind, opening the heart, and relaxing to have a true conversation. Just like having a real conversation with your spouse or your partner or your friend. You want to put out all outside distractions. You want to focus on what they have to say, and in return, they want to focus on what you have to say. So that's
being present. You're really being present. So once you're present with the animal, then, because I can picture people going, they're putting their hands to their head and going, trying to hear.
Right.
What do you do at that point?
All right, so in the book Talking About Dogs and Cats, there's a great little chapter in there called the orange ball test.
Yes.
So if you're prepared, I'm going to give you the orange ball test. And it's a 3-part. I'll give you the words, and then I will ask you 3 questions afterwards.
As long as I'm not going to have to go fetch right now.
Well, there's no gold stars, and it's always positive, so no problem. So I'm going to say the words. The words are orange ball. Okay. Orange ball. Now, the question is, did you hear the words that I had to say?
Yes.
Yes. And it was clear to you that was an orange ball, something you would throw or whatever it may be.
Yes, and there was an accentuation on that ball.
Yes. And I always say that because you've got to be very clear with the words you're saying. My combination of Midwestern upbringing and Southern living is combined. Sometimes people think I say orange bulb or orange bulb. But it stands true to the fact that every time we say a word or series of words, our animals understand those words. Okay, we know that to be true from our training techniques, especially with our dogs. If we're telling them to sit, stay, lay, roll over, these are great training techniques. So we know that they understand those words. But I'm here to tell you they understand everything we have to say.
So diverting very, very slightly, but importantly, does this mean we need to be careful what we say around our animals as if we were being careful around what we say around our kids?
That's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct. And with animals, they think everything, you live in that present moment, so they think everything is today. So if you're talking about moving from Hawaii to the mainland,
oh no,
or moving back to Hawaii, whatever case may be, they think it's now. So they're grabbing their doggy bones and they're grabbing their catnip, and they're
no
ready.
wonder our outdoor kitty, he was like, whoa, I'm home.
Right, and you need to ask them. So they understand the words that we're saying, not only in our conversations, but to them. So you converse with them by saying a word or series of words. You ask them the questions you want to ask them.
Yeah.
The second part of the test is, did you see an orange ball of some sort, or an orange color, or the word orange, something to do with orange?
Yeah, in fact, when I read the book, the image that came up, and it came up again here, isn't one of the balls you described. It's an orange tennis ball, and I can even see the white piping around the ball.
Absolutely.
So yes.
Absolutely. So you saw the ball.
Yes.
And so the more purposeful we are with the words that we're saying, and the more purposeful we are with the image that we're projecting, the better they understand. So if they're not picking up that it is the orange tennis ball that I'm trying to project to you, maybe they picked up the word orange or the fruit orange, whatever it may be, you got to go back and explain that again, make it a little bit clearer to them verbally, send out a stronger mental picture, and they'll pick up on that. Now the third part of the test is, When you got the answers right, you did bravo, great job, Michael, good job on that. How did you feel afterwards? Did your energy go up to a positive state? Did you feel good about getting the answers correct?
I felt like wagging.
And that's the key, because you do feel better. It's like the old terminology of let's talk about it. You're going to feel better. Talk about it. Get it off your chest. As we know, the chest is that chakra that's opening up. That's little chakra, and that chest heart chakra opening up. So we know that to be true. Though some people that aren't familiar with chakras or think that's kind of a boogie terminology, we're all familiar with talking about it and getting it off your chest.
So if we take as an example, we tend to rescue a lot of pets. I think you rescue a lot as well. And we have two. One of them was full feral. One of them was semi-feral. The semi-feral one actually showed up in my lap during meditation outside. So cool. And the one that was fully feral, we rescued him from the street, so to speak. He still has protective wiring in him that means he's constantly like afraid he's going to get pounced when he eats, so he'll eat tiny little bits and then he'll run off and then come back tiny little bits, and he is finally, after a year and a half, he'll let you pick him up for 10 or so seconds. He's like, I don't know about this. I love it. Oh, pet me. Oh, I gotta go. So what would you start to communicate with him, and how would you do that to try to get him to be more, it's okay, life is good, and you're safe here?
Right. So you get yourself calm, first of all, and you send yourself a mental picture that what you're wanting to accomplish is going to happen. So as you know, what you manifest is true. So what you send out there is what you're going to get back. So if you're sending out a positive image, you're going to get back positive results. So that's your first step.
Okay.
The second step is you communicate with the cat and tell them what the situation is, what they need to do, and why is this going to be a good thing for them. So you referenced talking to children or working with children a little bit earlier. It's very much the same thing. And I don't mean that from a simplistic standpoint. I mean it from the point that animals understand, or at least allow themselves to understand, a lot more than we ever will, because they trust what they receive. But when we're very specific about what we say and how we say it, and we send a strong mental picture, they pick up on it. So the next time you're going out there with the kitty, you explain that it's an honor to be in your space, and I'm here just to be with you. I need you to be calm and let me pet you, because that would be a great, great honor. And this will make you feel good and a little bit more trusting of me, and obviously it'd be a great privilege for me.
Wow.
And you see it happening the way you want it to happen. You pet, you love, even if it's for 10 seconds. When the cat runs off, you praise them like you've never seen a cat being petted in your life. It's the greatest thing you've ever experienced in your life. And the cat will surely become to the point where it's like, okay, that wasn't so bad. He told me what was going to happen. It happened like he said it was. He sent me the picture. Okay, I'm calm with that. So then you work your way up. And next time maybe it's 20 seconds. The next time maybe it's a full minute. You work your way to that point.
Beautiful.
And that's how I do it. I do ferals also. We did a trap, neuter, release program for 13 kitties. And we thought, well, we'll get them all fixed up, ready to go. They'll go back to their colony and everything will be great. The colony became the Link household.
Congratulations.
So some have been adopted. Unfortunately, some have made their transition, and there's some still hanging around after about 4 years. So,
So the feral cats, one of the things I find fascinating is that, and I guess this is, all animals come into our lives as teachers. They all do. You talk about it in your book. They're all here for a purpose, and it's miraculous who shows up for what reason. The feral cats that I've seen require a very delicate, calming energy. Or they're hardwired to bolt, and so they demand that of us. And I'm thinking of all animals in that they're watching us, they're studying us, and it really means we need to be on our best behavior, because they're either modeling us or they're getting turned off by us.
It's going to benefit our lives, no matter if we're talking about living with animals or doing our jobs or work, being part of the social community that we live in, whatever it may be. the more positive state of mind that we're in, the more physically positive we are about things, we feel good emotionally, mentally, and physically.
Yeah.
And our animals will always pick up on that, and they'll often absorb the energy that we're putting out there. So when we're in that positive state of mind, and we're in that positive being, in that positive centering place, they're going to be in that space.
So would you say animals, for instance, because I can hear a lot of people saying, yeah, that's good, true about this cat or that dog or something, but my dog's always misbehaving. It's doing this, it's doing that. And I wonder, and Jessica wonders if really a, put it in quotes, misbehaving animal is an animal that's trying to communicate with us. For instance, our coyote mix, when we were moving across the country, loaded up the U-Haul, driving across, I get to Albuquerque, I get out to go in the gas station, everybody stay. I go in to get to the gas station, I get back in, I filled up the car, and I sit down in a steaming pile of poo. And my coyote, she is rolling with laughter.
And the problem is what?
I guess it's that I created the problem.
Yeah, well, and the key that, there's a lot of things that could go into that story. Obviously, everybody's under stress.
Yeah.
You're driving cross country, so whether you know it or not, you're under a great deal of stress. So they're feeling.
I was.
Yes. And animals have this great ability, when we talk about absorbing the positive energy, they have a great ability to deflect negative energy and sort of get our attention when we're in that negative state. Mm-hmm. Now, when we continue to bombard them with negative energy, that's when they have dis-ease within their life, whether it's a physical disease or whether it is an emotional or mental thing that they're going through. If we're constantly in a bad state of mind, in their part of our family unit, they'll start to absorb it over time. So the little indication of leaving you a present, though you didn't find much humor in it, your dog obviously did.
She did.
Released some energy. She perhaps was confused about exactly what was going on and what she needed to do about it and why it was going to be a good thing overall for her and everyone else. Mm-hmm. And of course, they're great at getting our attention. When we are in that state of mind, whenever you start to see your animal change their behavior, it's a great opportunity to step back, take a breath, look within yourself, look around in your family unit and see what's going on. And more times than not, there'll be some disruption going on or something that the animal's not clear on, and they need to get your attention.
Wow. And it's, I think we don't realize just how intelligent and with it they are. Pumpkin was her name. And Pumpkin, when she was in my life, she was very loyal to me. As soon as my wife came along, she switched sides. And we called her my wife's attorney. Because if I did anything that I could certainly learn to have improved from, I'm a work in progress, she would go over to my wife and kind of give me the stink eye, and she'd be like arms crossed, so to speak. Daddy.
That's right. And it goes in the infamous wife's black book of things you did.
Exactly. So when it comes to animals and their intelligence and their emotional IQ, would you say we shouldn't scold animals?
Absolutely not. I should say, do not scold animals. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that, because you're projecting negative energy. And if you'll even watch your dogs and cats, if you're scolding them, if you bring your voice up, if you threaten them, whatever it may be, they'll back down for the moment. So you're dominating them. But then they bounce right back up because they don't accept that negative energy. So they'll go back to it. And if we're not communicating with them, you're never going to, if it's a behavioral change you're wanting them to make and you're not communicating with them, you'll never get them to understand exactly what you're wanting them to accomplish and why it's going to be a good thing for them.
So if they're doing something you don't like, walk me through this. You come home and dogs chewing couch, kitty scratching couch, one or the other. Some couch issue.
Take a breath.
Yeah.
First thing you do, calm yourself.
Yeah.
And then you chat it out because it's already been done. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to do you any good to scold them or yell at them. I always tell people that here's a great lesson for you.
Yeah.
Michael, do you want to have a healthy retirement portfolio when you retire?
Sure. Who would?
Sure. Okay. Now I'm not a financial planner, nor have I played one on TV, but I always tell people that go a day without saying either to your animals or just in general a negative energy word. Mm-hmm. Stay away from words like don't, not, stop, quit, raising your voice, scolding, yelling, screaming. Each time you do use one of those negative words or negative energy connotations or energy putting out there, I want you to put $1 in the mason jar, the ball jar, the big bucket you're going to have to create.
Oh, wow. Is this going to go for kitty gifts or
your retirement, whatever it may be? Because we have our challenge in society, challenge as humans, is we're so inundated with negative energy. Mm-hmm. We're so, whether we like it or not, attracted to it. I mean, when we see a wreck on the road, we're compelled to watch the wreck, the evening news, whatever it may be, it's filled with negativity, and somehow we're drawn that way. And so we project a lot of that negative energy out there. So stay away from those negative energy words. So when you come home, the house is all torn up, the couch is all torn up, you breathe, and you stay away from those negative energy words, and you simply say, I understand there was something I missed here, something that got you agitated, something you weren't clear about. I'm going to try to do better to figure out what it is. I need you to communicate with me what that is. What I need you to do is be nice to the couch. Play nicely. Take long naps while I'm gone. Yeah. Do things that are sweet and kind, because it's going to make me very happy, and it's going to give you great happiness. It's going to give you a great reward at the end of the day. I'll reward you with treats if you're treat motivated, whatever it may be. So that's what you want to do. Now, you can, obviously, in the book, I talk about things like separation anxiety and clarity when you leave the house. And so I always propose to people that you let your animals know where you're going, let them know how long you're going to be gone, visualize the number of days on a calendar or the hours in front of a clock, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. Then most importantly, give them a little job to do while you're gone. Ooh. Something that's really easy, like take a long nap or chew on your favorite bone or cuddle up and keep my blankets warm, whatever it may be, something nice and simple. And you'll start to realize that, this will become part of your normal routine. No matter if you're going to work, you're going to the mall, you're going on vacation, you're going to get the mail, it'll all become a routine. And the animals will start to pick up on it, and they'll realize how long you're gone. You'll have a lot less anxiety in the household.
That's beautiful. I love that, and it's such, both of those are phrased as positive. It's empowering the animal, so it's looking for the positive or setting them up for success in that moment. We had, when I met my wife Jessica, we had a second dog, and that dog's name was Sawa, and I've struggled for a lifetime. It's finally under control with low blood sugar issues. And so my blood sugar would start to go, particularly, I'm a writer, I'd be writing, and my blood sugar would start to go, and I'd start to get a little agitated or nervous, and Sawa would come running up to me from wherever. And Brittany, long tail, kind of a little bit wiry, and she'd start to get nervous, she'd start to get agitated, she'd start to get my attention, but I'm nervous, I'm getting a little agitated, she's getting a little agitated, I'm getting a little agitated, going back and, Sawa, what are you doing? And she'd be freaking out beside herself. And it wasn't until my wife came along and she said, look at the ears. What do you mean, look at the ears? She's got pointy ears. Do you ever see those pointy ears? I've never thought about it. Well, when those ears are pointing, did you realize that your blood sugar has just crashed? And we got her she became a registered service dog.
Very good.
That would go with me and could tell me on a moment's notice before I could possibly know it. And if you've ever had your blood sugar go low, or anybody you know go low, when it goes low, you don't know it's gone low. In fact, you'll argue it hasn't gone low.
Right.
And so it became her job, and she became so proud, and she wore that suit, that red suit with her ID card as a badge of pride, because Daddy understood.
Absolutely.
I think they've all got that in them.
They do. They do come in our lives for a purpose. There's a reason they always find us. And I say that, in the fact that not only do they show up at our doorstep, but, friends and family can't take care of them, so we take them in. You go to a pet store to pick up pet supplies for your dog, and all of a sudden you walk out with a cat. You go into a rescue to adopt a Chihuahua, and you walk out with a Great Dane. There's always a reason they come into our lives, and there's always teachings or learnings or lessons that they provide us. So I've had many of them where, Mama Kitty is one example,
Yeah.
feral we had that we rescued, and she tends to stay around the house. She provides that constant calming. No matter what's going on, she keeps everything nice and calm. So I could just go out in her space and be there and get into that calming moment without even trying. She just gets to that point.
Are these conscious, this sounds like a silly question between you and me, but it's worth discussing. Are they conscious, sentient beings? Is it a soul, so to speak, coming into that dog or kitty body that's really as an equal to us in many ways, that has their own job to do, which fortunately enough we get to be a part of?
I think I definitely believe so. I actually think they're probably more sentient than we are. I really do. And the fact that, just like animals, we all have a purpose for being here. Mm-hmm. We're all born, animals and humans alike, we're born, we select a body, we come into this world, and we are here to fulfill a purpose. Yeah. And when either that body has broken down and can't service us anymore, or we have fulfilled that purpose, at that point is when we make our transition. The only difference between us and animals is the fact that the animals understand whatever past that they had, no matter if it was a good situation or not so good situation. They take those lessons, apply it to the present moment, work every single day to fulfill that purpose in the present moment, mm-hmm. and then when they're done, they don't worry about the future, they just make their transition. Us humans, unfortunately, have that same ability, but we get so stuck in the past, mm-hmm. and we often hold our past up like a golden egg. It's like, oh, you thought your father was bad. Well, let me show you one.
Oh, no.
You had a hard childhood. Well, look what happened to me. And, it goes on and on and on throughout the whole life, even when we become older and we start to, take our medications. Like, oh, I'm on 12 medications. Well, I'm on 16. It's almost like a badge of courage or honor, when actually it prevents us from getting to that present moment. So many of us are climbing that ladder in life and trying to figure out why we're really here. Spend thousands of dollars in therapy trying to analyze what our purpose is, where if we actually just calm ourselves down and live like our animals in the present moment, I think that purpose will become pretty clear to us.
So they're little Zen masters and masters of mindfulness, being yes. fully present in that moment.
Present in the moment, that's absolutely right.
So recently we experienced, and I think you've seen a lot of animals passing, if I'm understanding correctly. Recently we experienced something that we still don't quite understand. We do and we don't. We had a 10-month-old kitty, extremely close to Jessica, was helping her heal from a 2-year-old kitty who had passed away on us, and kind of brought Jessica out of a funk at a time that we were struggling with mold in our house, and she was feeling very ill. And this kitty brought us all together. We had our 2 feral cats and this kitty, and the troops, they all rallied around the kitty, so to speak. And a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, he wasn't feeling that well. We found the house we moved into still has a little mold, so we've been struggling a little bit. His health was down a little bit, and then it bounced back, and he got up one morning. He's all excited. He went and pooped. He says hi to everybody. He went downstairs. All of a sudden, feral cat comes running up to my wife and says, "Come here," and brings him down, and he's gone. He's just gone. No struggle, no gaps, no anything. Eyes still wide open, looking up to the left, checked out. Is this something you commonly see, like they do a mission and then I'm out of here?
Yeah, absolutely. They select that body that they're in, and like I mentioned before, either the body, they realize quickly either the body's not going to support them, mm-hmm. and they're going to make their transition out to try it again, or they're going to feel that they have fulfilled their purpose and then move on from there. And so, we have animals. As humans, we blame ourselves so much about everything.
Oh, well, yeah. It's what if we had brought him to the vet sooner? What if we had done this? What if we had done that? He didn't gradually go down, just gone at that point.
He was gone. And you hit it right on the head. You answered your own question, and the fact that here's an animal that came to your life, even though for a short period of time, mm-hmm. turned the tables. Yeah. Set the stage, got everybody out of the funk, got everybody back on the healthy track, got you where you needed to be, mm-hmm. and then the mission was done. In a short period of time, it's like, I don't need to be here for the long period of time. I don't need to continue to hold their hand through this. They've set themselves on the right course. They're back where they need to be. They're focusing on what they need to do, and so I'm happy. I've moved on.
So I've got to ask my wife. I can picture her behind me right now, and she'd be saying, "Will I see him again?"
You can see him now, and I'm sure he's been around.
She has for the last 2 nights finally seen him in dreams. So
there you go. So basically, what happens in the transition? I've seen this so many times. We envision a golden cord that keeps our energy intact with our body. You call it energy, spirit, soul, essence, however you want to label it. It's all the same thing. And when the animal makes their transition, they disconnect from that cord, and they go into what is called a regeneration process. So they're regenerating their energy up to its full potential. Now, what I mean by that is envision the animal in its prime. Your vision of when it was in its happiest state of mind, healthiest state of mind, your vision. And your vision may be different from your wife's vision, but it's all going to be the same essence. It's all going to feel the same.
Okay.
But the energy is regenerating up to its full potential. And it's gone up into this universal loving space, the rainbow bridge, the heaven, however you want to label it. We all go to the same place. Our animals go there as well. And it's at that point the animal's trying to make its decision once it's regenerated. Is it going to stay in that loving space? Is it going to teach others? Is it going to be just one with all? Or will it come back for a different purpose? Will it come back into our lives? Will it come into someone else's lives? So there's some determinations, and there's no time frame for this regeneration process, and it has no bearing on what they went through while they were in body. It's just sort of how, it's like us when we go on vacation. If you're like my dad, we want to get there to the destination. And Mom's purpose was to hit every antique shop along the way. So they took different strolls on their way to life. And so that's what our animals do. Now, during this time, during this whole regeneration process and afterwards, they really are our furry angels. They're an angel like any other past family member, friend, archangel. It's all in that heavenly space. It's energy, so it can come and go as it wishes. So what will usually happen is, especially in those early days, they'll come back and visit us to make sure we're healing, making sure we're knowing that everything is okay. So we'll see them in that dream state, or we'll see a golden orb on something that doesn't have a reflective surface. We'll feel them. There'll be a place that they like to lay that all of a sudden will be warm to the touch or be crumpled up. There's different signs and visions and silhouettes and things that you'll see. You may even hear them at some point. It may even come in a form that you least expect. But the thing is, once you see it, feel it, or know it, you trust it and know that they're there for you. Now, the other thing I see happen all the time is they will come back and leave their imprint or their teachings with the other animals in the household.
Now, that actually leads right to our next question.
Yeah. So other animals that are in your household now, as well as other animals you form a heart connection with later on, they'll come back and leave those teachings, those imprints, the things they thought were important. Most of them are the things that you loved about them. Some of them are some of the things you wish they would have not. They're going to leave those teachings behind. That's when you see the animals step up and take on new roles or new responsibilities or do things that they've never done before. Our role, though, as the humans, is to allow that to happen and identify it and honor it and not doubt it and not just think, oh, well, that cat was never affectionate because another cat was always affectionate, so it never had an opportunity to. No, that's not the case. The imprint was left saying, hey, I'm gone out of physical body, so it's important for you to give mommy some love. So step up and give mommy some love.
How often have you seen them actually come back? Is that it goes beyond the scope of this book, but I think every animal lover who's had an animal passes away wonders, is it possible that they could come back to me?
Yeah, my belief is energy can come and go as it pleases, so we select bodies for while we're here, and so we can definitely come back. I don't think it's as prevalent as what we would hope it would be, because if an animal's lived a life with you and has fulfilled that purpose, it's going to look for another purpose in life, and it may not be with you. There are some that are with us for multiple lifetimes, or at least they're multiple lifetimes, but they may not actually come back to you. We also see that when they're living as well. When an animal goes off, runs away, as we may call it, or leaves the home, their purpose may be simply just done with you, and they're looking for another family to continue on that mission and purpose. That's hard for us to accept because we think, wow, we gave them such a great life. Why would they do that to me?
Yeah.
You know, why would they hurt me like that? And it's not about you. It's about them and their purpose.
So in our case, cat passes away. We have 2 other cats. This has happened to so many other people. What do we tell our cats, and how can we tell how they're doing after the passing?
Yeah, for the most part, they will have already had that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, a great example of that is I had 2 schnauzers, Buzz and Woody. They're in the book Talking with Dogs and Cats.
Yeah.
And they had, they're purebred schnauzers, totally different in personality, totally different in looks, but they were in the same, you know, they were born one right after the other. One, Woody was black with pointed ears and very intense character, gave a lot of love to us, but really couldn't handle a lot of disruption in his life. And Buzz was floppy-eared gray boy that didn't see anybody that he didn't like and just enjoyed life to its fullest. Well, they had a whole series of health problems in their short 8 or 9 years of living. They, you know, Woody developed sudden retinal degeneration, so he went blind overnight.
Wow.
Buzz developed cataracts in his eyes. Both were diabetic. Both had Cushing's, and the list goes on and on and on. And these, though, are things I wish they would have never had to go through. Lessons that were taught to me because I knew very little at that time about these various illnesses. But now I have a platform where I reach hundreds of thousands of people, telling them about my stories and writing and radio shows, etc., that now I can share and help people. And that was part of their gift that they left behind. But the key thing is they were totally different personalities and checked out at a very early age, but they fulfilled just about everything that they wanted to fulfill. So what happened in this case was Woody passed away in my arms. We were laying together on a bright and early Monday morning. I told him if you were still willing to and wanting to, we would go back to the vet the next day. And he woke up long enough to tell me that no, he was done and he'll see me soon. And then he left.
Wow.
And, and him and Buzz were extremely tight. They never went anywhere without each other. And Buzz simply walked into the room, looked at his brother, said, okay, and then left. And that was it. There was no heartache. There was no anything. And we realized very early on that they'd already had that conversation. They'd been sick for a while. They already had the conversation ahead of time. So it's okay, yeah, you told me you were going to go, and so you left, and you know, thank you, and move on. So I think they already had that conversation. If they hadn't, then it's simply just sitting down and talking to them. That hope you. I don't know if you know this or not, but I hope you understand that. You know, what was the name of the animal? I'm sorry.
Coaccoon.
Coaccoon made her transition. I'm sure you're going to feel her around or see her around. Need you to continue to learn from her lessons and her teachings and her imprint, and allow us to provide you love and be happy. And if you place it simple as that, any confusion or any wondering that they had will become clear, and they'll accept it rather easily and accept those teachings and continue to move on.
I like that. So, and thank you. That's going to help us, maybe us more than them in their healing, because they seem to be pretty okay with it. And in fact, one of them surprised us, the one Lumi, who brought Jessica to Coaccoon, who's laying there. Lumi was like, life is good. And then our other cat, Sir Meowsers, he curled up with him and cleaned him for half an hour, and just cleaned him and groomed him, and then said, I think I've had enough. And then he headed off, and both of them are different now, remarkably different, upgraded.
Yes, and that's the key. They learn from those lessons, and they allow those lessons to come through. And you know, animals are no different than us. We all go through a grieving process. We all have a healing process. Nobody can tell you how long that's going to be. Nobody's going to tell you how you can allow that to happen. You have to go at your own pace. And it's the same thing for our animals. I just think with our animals, they understand the world, they understand their bodies, they allow things to happen a lot more easily than we do. We put up so many restrictions in our life that it's harder for us to let go.
So how do we hear animals clearly when we're in a stressful situation? Particularly, maybe we think an animal is not feeling well, and we really, this is a point, do I take you in, do I not take you? What do I do at this point where you need to tune in, but you're kind of stressed out?
Yeah, we go back to that breathing again. We breathe, we calm ourselves down, and we ask the animal, please share with me how you're feeling. Let me know what you need from me, because this is going to make me happy, and it's going to allow me to help you. And really, the first thing that enters into you, whether it's a feeling or an emotion, a knowing, a vision, a thought, a word, whatever it is, they need to act upon that. And obviously, if it's a feeling that they may be in physical distress or physical dis-ease, it's always better to have the err on the side of caution, take them to your and get them checked out, see what's going on, and then make your determination on whether you want to help them out through the medicines, or whether it's a more holistic approach, a healing approach, an energy approach, whatever it may be, to help them through that situation.
Yeah, I remember with Pumpkin, she had cancer for over 9 years. And she got better. It went into complete remission. Jessica came into my life, and it was time that Pumpkin could pass, and it came back. But on the last day of life, and she was a mess at that point. She had this beaming ear-to-ear grin on her face. She's trying to hop and play with crickets, and she's telling us, "Life is good, life is good." And she knew this is it, and she was trying to teach us, even in her last moment.
Right.
So what about kids and communicating with animals?
Yeah. Well, kids are a great conduit for communicating with animals, especially in those early years, because they haven't been taught that it was odd or strange, or you shouldn't do that. I mean, us humans, their parents, the adults, were like, oh, little Timmy's talking to the kitties again. Oh, he has such a vivid imagination. He's something. He's just so talented when it comes to using his imagination. No, because we're talking ourselves out of it, because we're so worried about what the Joneses next door are going to think about little Timmy talking to the cat.
Yeah.
Those type of things. So we have to encourage that, allow our children to develop that, continue to use that gift, and use those ways of communicating with animals. Encourage them to do that, because I think that's going to make them even more well-rounded. It will allow them to connect at a deeper level and have a greater life.
This actually makes me think that if you can help the kids, tell me your feelings on this, if we can help the kids to cultivate that, to grow that mental muscle, rather than, because I know with kids, if you say, stop communicating with that imaginary friend, all of a sudden it's gone and it never comes back. But if instead you cultivate that, it seems like they almost may be able to carry that awareness, not just with animals, but with everyone around them.
Absolutely. Yeah, isn't it funny in our life how, as adults, we wish we could feel our mothers and fathers again that have made their transition, or our grandparents or whatever. Wish we just had one more day with them. Yeah. And meanwhile, little Timmy's over here having conversations with Papa whatsoever. And that's the case, because they don't know any better. As we say, they know better, but it's like they don't know that they can't do this, because they can. Yeah. They haven't been taught out of it. They haven't been told what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. So we need to follow their lead, just like we follow our animals' lead. Whatever they receive, they go with and trust it. We have to do the same.
I love it. Yeah. So what would 3 key takeaway pieces of advice you would give people for communicating with or listening to their animals?
Yeah, I think the 3 key pieces, and I talk about in the book Talking with Dogs and Cats, the key components behind this is A, calm yourself down.
Yeah.
Breathe, meditate, get centered, whatever you need to do to clear yourself. Exactly. We don't breathe. That's the key. I talk about that in workshops. Like, how many of you breathe? And they're like, well, that's a stupid question. No, it's not. Ways you breathe and ways you use breath to cleanse yourself and to open yourself up. So center yourself, breathe, calm yourself down. That's the first thing. The second thing is have an open communication. Have a dialogue. Dialogue is a two-way street. Open those radio waves, communicating back and forth with your animals. Tune into them and allow them to connect with you. And then the third part is trust. Trust what you receive. Trust what you know. Go with your feelings. Go with your emotions, your instincts, whatever it is the animals are sharing with you. Trust it to be true. And I think you'll find out that you'll be able to solve or improve those behavior challenges. You'll be able to bond at a greater level with your animals. And most of all, you're just going to have a greater life with them.
This sounds like lessons for with our animals, with our kids, with our loved ones, even with people we could learn to love more.
Yes. God bless their heart, as we say.
Exactly.
Sal.
So, a question that I ask all of our guests toward the end, which is, what brings you the greatest happiness, or what I call the woohoo factor?
Well, my woohoo factor, boy, that is a loaded question. You got me on that one.
All right.
The truth is, it's the fact that, I know that I'm here for a purpose. Mm-hmm. So if I can help people better understand themselves, better understand the animals in their life, and form that great relationship, that's what I'm here for. I always tell people that when this epiphany happened and I made this leap of faith, I had two choices. I could either have a headstone, which I never plan on having a headstone. If I have a headstone, I can either have it say, he sold a lot of technology for cellular phones, or he helped people and animals build the best relationships possible in their lives. And I think the latter is a little bit more apropos for me.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Any last words of wisdom you give people?
Love your animals and communicate with them. Have a great life with them. Allow yourself to have a great life, and be happy. That's the key points to it all.
Be happy. Communicate. I love it. I want to give my animals a hug after this.
Yes. Yes. Give them plenty of hugs and love. Let them hug and love you too. It's never too much love. That's for sure.
It'd be bad to say at this point, but I can't think of any other words. I love it. Where can people go to find out more about your book?
You can go to talkingwithdogsandcats.com. Mm-hmm. Find out more about the book, Talking with Dogs and Cats. Find out more about me, the media appearances I'll be making, workshops that I'm teaching. It'll also lead you to my main site, which is wagging-tails.com, wagging-tales.com. So it's the tells they tell, not the tails they wag.
I love it.
Yes, there you can find out more information about me and watch videos and everything, more information you ever wanted to know about me. Mm-hmm. And also sign up for your own private consultations and ways that I can help you out.
Fantastic. And we'll have more information posted on our website. We'll put your links on our website as well. That's inspirenationshow.com. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Tim. For everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, love and talk with your pets, and shine bright. Woohoo! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like below. Also, leave your comments. Have some real fun with it. Subscribe to our channel where you're going to get more great videos, more interviews coming up. And check out our website, inspirenationshow.com. That's where you'll find tips, blogs, information, videos you won't find anywhere else, and useful and helpful resources to really help you kickstart your life and to shine bright. Thanks so much again. Thank you for your support. Like, comment, subscribe. See the website. Thanks so much and have fun. Of course, shine bright. Woohoo!